Hey guys, so I just wanted to put this post up because I had a really good question today, and it's something that I get asked quite frequently. And I think it's a really valid question, something I've definitely struggled with or gone through a lot of in recent years. And I think something that a lot of people do struggle with no matter what kind of responsibilities they have in their lives. And that is, how do you sort of win at everything? If you're playing a couple of different hats or you're playing lots of different hats in your life, maybe you're a parent, maybe you have a career, you might run a business, whatever it is, we all sort of have to play lots of different roles. And I guess one of the biggest questions that we have and the biggest challenges we have as we go through life is, how do we win them all? How do we make sure we're kicking ass in every department and also find some time for balance and some time for ourselves and sometimes to make sure that, that we're looking after ourselves and all of those sorts of things. So I think the interesting thing about this is that the answer to me, in my opinion, is that you can't. You don't win at them all. And I think that anybody that tells you that they're winning at every aspect in their life at all times, and they're sort of coming from a position of they've got all of their shit together, they've got everything figured out, and they're just like killing it in all aspects of their life, just really probably isn't telling you the truth. And it doesn't mean that there's not different stages in your life where you can be killing it in different areas and doing really well. And that doesn't mean that you can feel like you're really happy with the balance in your life. Like, you can definitely get there. But to be completely mastering every different aspect of your life at the same time, all of the time, is just, I think, completely unrealistic. I'm typically a perfectionist. I want to win at everything and all the time. I'm quite hard on myself and I expect a lot of myself. And sometimes this has been a bit of a downfall of mine. It does make me perform well. It does make me always sort of reach for more, but it can be a little bit of a downfall in the sense that I've often struggled with the disappointment in not being able to win at everything all the time. And something that I've learnt, particularly in the past 6 months, is that life is about balance. But it's also about understanding that you can embrace the chaos a little bit and embrace the fact that sometimes the balance just isn't always there. And to me, what balance is now about is about finding my true balance of, maybe it's 80% career and 20% personal life. That doesn't mean it's 50-50. That doesn't mean both, go in together perfectly all the time. But if that's the balance that works for me and makes me most happy at that current time, then that's what I'm searching for. If that balance sways in a different percentage or in different areas at different times, then that's okay too. There's no one hard and fast rule about this is how you should live your life, or this is the perfect balance, for the ultimate happiness. It's about finding what works for you and understanding that that might change week to week, that might change month to month, and that the truth is that's okay, as long as you're living your truth, you're living what works for you, and you're also making sure you continue to push to reach bigger things, and you're living life with drive and with motivation, and you're going after what you want, even if sometimes that means the balance is a little bit chaotic at times, and that you can be okay with that. So, for me, like, I have, I've got one child, so I'm a mother, I'm a wife, I've got my own business, I work with FitGrow doing the coaching as well. So I do have to shift from being mum, being wife, being business owner, being coach, being employee, being student as well. I also fight competitively in Muay Thai. So I have to go from being an athlete at times as well. So there's lots of different roles I play. And what I've struggled with is sometimes I want all of them to be perfect all the time. And I want to be like mastering all of them at the same time. And I've learned that that's most of the time just not possible. You know, there might be short snippets where I feel like I've really got it all together and everything's working really well. But the truth is, am I mastering all of them all at the same time? Probably not. It's a full-time job really if you want to master any one of those areas at the same time. So sometimes something's just got to give. You know, if I'm really close to a fight, then sometimes being an athlete has to come first. You know, I have to be prepared. I have to have everything on point. I have to have my nutrition and my training and my recovery and everything on point. And sometimes that just has to take priority, you know, over having the house organized. And that's just the way it is. Then, you know, that might shift where I'm getting a lot done at work and I feel like my career is really driven and I'm really getting everything done and I'm really focused and I know my path and I feel like I'm doing really well in that area. And, you know, that means my training is a little bit more relaxed and I'm focusing more on the work side of things and maintaining the training at a more of a reasonable level rather than that super high professional athlete level. You know, sometimes like my son might need my attention more than others, and you know, especially if he's unwell or something like that, or just is going through a stage in his development where he needs a parent to be a bit more attentive, needs more time, you need more work, like you need more family balance, and that might mean, you know, you don't get as much done in the day that you'd like to for your business because you've got to spend a bit more time, or you are spending a bit more time with your family, and that's cool too. You know, I might look like I've got everything worked out on the outside and be super organized and getting heaps of work done and spending some quality time with family and getting training done. And, you know, behind closed doors at home, you know, the dishes still might be sitting dirty on the bench and the house isn't as clean as I'd like it to be. And, you know, all of those sorts of things, like, you know, maybe the dog hasn't been walked for a week, like whatever it is. But the truth is that you find happiness in accepting the imperfections. You can find happiness in accepting that life just is a bit chaotic. I used to tend to just wait for a time where it was all going to come together. Like if I work hard now, then I'm going to get to a point where everything's going to be easy. And the truth is that I don't think that ever comes. I used to be a little bit unrealistic about that, but what I've learned along the way is you work hard now to get to a goal. You get to that goal or close to it, and then you lift your game. You make new goals. You level up. Then your aspirations are bigger, and then there's more challenges, or there's things that you weren't dealing with back then that you're dealing with now. Like there's more going on. So I think life is always probably going to be hectic for me because I'm always going to be like chasing new things and taking on bigger goals and bigger dreams and always going to be keeping myself busy. And would I have it any other way? Probably not. And if at some point in my life I do want it another way and I do want things a bit more relaxed and a bit more chilled and a bit more balanced, as they say, then that's cool. I'll deal with that then too. But right now, I think the most important thing that I've learnt about having it all and finding balance and getting it all done realistically is embracing that the reality is you've got to choose what your priorities are at that time. You have to focus on what needs to be done and what's really going to get you to that next step, what's going to get you towards your goals, what's going to make you happy. And accept that sometimes it'll go to plan and sometimes it won't. And sometimes outside factors are at play. Sometimes people in your life or areas of your business or, you know, other outside factors might need your attention more than you were ready for. And that's okay too. It's all sort of part of embracing the chaos and embracing that life just isn't perfectly balanced. In the meantime, to help like time management things and make life a little bit easier along the way, you know, any of those small tasks that you can afford to outsource, definitely do so. You know, if it's someone coming in and cleaning your house once a week, if it's ordering meals so that you don't have to worry about taking time to do the cooking, if it's meal prepping on a Sunday so that your meals are ready all week, like if it's making sure you carve out some time, you know, to take the kids to the park, or making sure you get that quality family time on a Saturday afternoon or evening or something like that, to make sure that you are finding those little snippets of balance that are going to make you and your family and your life a lot happier. Then plan ahead and do those things, or outsource those things where you can. I find I much rather have a little bit less money and a bit more time. So if I can spend some money on getting the house cleaned, or you know, I've got a big dog, and he goes to a dog farm twice a week, where he gets to run around with a whole bunch of other dogs, you know, on acreage, and that makes, you know, him a super chill dog for the rest of the week. Makes my life a little bit easier. He doesn't need walks every day if we do that. So if I can spend a bit more money doing those things and making things a little bit more relaxed, and then I've got the time to do other things, then that's definitely like money well spent to me, rather than, you know, trying to do everything for as little spending as possible. So just some food for thought. I think sometimes we can put a lot of pressure on ourselves and have unrealistic expectations about getting it all done and having this so-called balance that everybody's searching for. But I think balance really comes back to what makes you happy. If you're super happy and you're genuinely in your heart just absolutely chasing down a career goal, and like not seeing friends and having no life, and like no social life, should I say, because you're just like head down, like I'm going after this goal, and that's what makes you happy, fucking do it. Like, don't worry about what anybody else says balance is. Don't worry about mum and dad telling you like, oh, you know, make sure you relax and make sure you do this. Like, do what makes you happy. If balance for you is that maybe career goals get chased a little bit slower, things take a little bit longer because you really want to breathe and you really want to be in the moment, and you want to spend time with your kids, and you want to spend more time with, having that social aspect and just be in the moment a little bit more with that. And that's super important to you, and that's what keeps you happy and makes you happy. Then you've got to do that too. Like, it's your balance is what is your balance, and it might be a specific way this week or this month, and it might be different next month, and that's okay too. Like, you've just got to roll with the punches, and as you change and you develop and new things become important to you, then you have to roll with that too. The other thing I think is super important is if you have goals and you have your idea of what kind of balance you want and what kind of things you want to be prioritizing, and it's just not working out for you, and you're just having a rough day or a rough week or whatever, and you're just not getting the stuff done, cut yourself some slack and get up and try again tomorrow. Like, go back to your goals, go back to what's important to you, go back to what your priorities are. Make sure you always go back to the foundations and take a look at those things, realign yourself with them, get up tomorrow and go again. And sometimes that's all it's needed. Sometimes you might need a day to just reset, recharge, cut yourself a little bit of slack, wake up tomorrow, go again. We're not going to be perfect all the time. We're not going to get everything we want to get done all the time. Keep it simple. Don't overcomplicate things by putting too much, on your plate and trying to achieve 100 things every day. Just keep your eyes focused on whatever it is that your goals are. And if you get off track a little bit, or it just doesn't work for you every now and then, just, brush it off, wake up the next day, go again. So anyway, I hope that helps. That's just something that I've noticed. There's a lot of talk about life balance and having it all, and how do you get it all done? And I think when people are playing it from the outside, pretending they've got all their shit together, the truth is it's just not true. And for me, having my shit together and having everything figured out is more just about doing what's right for me, and my mum might walk into my house and go, oh, Nakia, your house is a mess, but Like, if my house is a mess that week because I'm doing the other things that are important to me and making me happy, so be it. You got to live true to you. And sometimes it's just about not being too hard on yourself. But as long as you don't use that as an excuse, you know, like, you've got to push yourself, you've got to drive yourself, you've got to expect more of yourself. You know, you've got to want to achieve, and you've got to want to do more, and you've got to want to you've got to want to go places, I think. But there's just a balance of making sure you're not too hard on yourself, as long as you're working hard to get to where you want. Cool. Anyway, so hope that helps, and let me know in the comments below if you struggle with this, and what you do to make your life easier and find more of that balance for yourself.